Brian, tell me about your paintings. How long you been into this form of creation?
Well, this is relatively new for me, Pete. I painted as a kid and I was enjoying it and doing pretty well, but I was on the football team and the coach mocked me one day and said, "McFarlane, where were you yesterday?" I said, "I was at art lessons, 50 cents a lesson." And this teacher's pretty good. He said, "We don't want any artists on our team." And I love football, and I wasn't very good at it. But anyway, I gave up art for maybe 50 years. And then down in Florida about 10, 15, 20 years ago, I got dabbling in it again and took some lessons with people and got to enjoy it all over again. And now suddenly people are knocking on my door and buying them, and the pond hockey work seems to be the best or the most popular, so that's what I'm involved in pretty much.
I was going to say, you can see looking around here, pond hockey, like you've got it in the mountains. And are these places that you've been, or just talk a little bit about how you get your creations from?
Well, on the internet you can find anything, so if I go to painting or artists, I can see how other people paint. And I do remember my joy of playing hockey outdoors when I was a kid on ponds and creeks and whatever, backyard rinks. And I think there's a lot of guys, elderly people especially, who remember those days. So we're looking at a book about pond hockey, but I don't know whether that'll come about or not. I'm so busy writing other books that I may not get to it, but I'd like to. I'd like to perhaps use my own art in it, but somebody better than I, with a better judge than I am, will judge that and say, yeah, we can do it, or we won't bother doing it.
Tell me while I got you here, tell me about Peter Puck. Tell me about this.
Oh, there's big news about Peter Puck. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact. We signed a contract because we own the Canadian rights, and this group in Toronto wants to revive Peter Puck, and they've done a lot of groundwork, and they've talked to broadcasters and promoters and entrepreneurs, and they feel that Peter and Penny Puck, Penny's very important to this as well, are ready for a comeback into the hockey world, and I'm saying go for it, guys. We'd all like that.
Do you know what it's going to be like? Is it going to be like, are we talking about Hockey Night in Canada? Are we talking about like books, or do you know yet?
I think it's a big sphere, and there are things going on in that digital world that I have no idea what's happening, but they're big on that, and they've talked to the CBC, I understand. I don't know whether that means Hockey Night in Canada or Hockey Day, wherever. I've just sort of said, we endorse it, go for it, we really like you guys, and good luck.
Last few questions. Are you still into the hockey world? Still into it? Still follow it?
Not as much as before. The guys today are so skilled, and yet they're all sort of cookie cutters. They're all 6'3", 250 pounds, and they skate like the devil and shoot and score. But you know, it doesn't have some of the drama of the 60s or the 50s or the 70s even. There are no Tiger Williams around or Eddie Shacks these days, none of the color guys. They're kind of cookie cutters, but I really admire the way they play, of course. They're just wonderful.
Who's the best on the ice today?
Oh, I couldn't say today, but I've always picked John Beliveau as my all-time favorite player, as an ambassador for hockey, with Gretzky right close behind. I got to play against both of them once in junior hockey against Beliveau, and that taught me I'd better think about another career other than hockey. And Wayne was 12 years old when I skated with him, so we were pretty even as a matter. He went around Andy Bathgate and scored a neat goal. I never did that, but I wasn't very good as a 12-year-old as he was.
Last question. How did you get into the career that you were in?
How did
you get into the career that you were in for so long?
I guess at 15 I wanted to be something in the way of an announcer or a writer. And going to college turned my whole world around. I got a scholarship to a U.S. college. They had a radio station on campus, and they encouraged literary works. And then I got a job as a cameraman on a TV station in Schenectady, New York, and they were actually looking for a sportscaster. So I applied for the job and got it. But I said after 2 years, I'm going to move to Canada. That's my home. I love the nation. I love hockey up there. And maybe I'll even be lucky to enough to get on Hockey Night in Canada, and that all happened.
How many years?
25 years.
25 happy years on Hockey Night.
Well, they weren't all that happy with the Harold Ballard era. You know, that was a kind of a downer, but it was still fun to be in that gondola with the Hewitts and Dave Hodge and Meeker and all the guys.